just mounted these bad boys up. Like I said, it went together pretty good. We went with the Bilstein heavy duties. We tow quite a bit of weight with this van. Our trailer, it's definitely an overgross vehicle, but our trailer is about 15,000 loaded when we're going to the racetrack. So, just to get an idea here, in the rear I've also got these Timbren SES, which is a suspension enhancement system. And if you notice, basically it just goes between, it's a bump stop, if you will. It has a spring rating, if you will. It just goes between the body or frame and the axle. Helps support weight of the trailer when it's loaded down. And because of this, the van always rides really rough. It actually rides better when it's loaded, as you can imagine. But so due to this, it's not as easy to tell the improvement with the rear Bilsteins here. But I can tell you for a fact, after driving this thing with blown out shocks as long as I have, that big improvement. Definitely big improvement. But so this is passenger side, and as you can see here, you know, that's the original mounting stud. In my opinion, I don't like their original design. The stud is welded into the back side of this trailing arm here. So when the thing snaps, you really don't have much of a choice but to replace the whole trailing arm. And you know, the part itself isn't that expensive, like 80 or 100 bucks or something of that nature, but the install, because you got to remove everything here, kind of deterred me from taking it into the dealer and having it done. So I'll show you guys what we did. Here's the back side of the repair. Basically, is what we did was removed the broken stud, which a lot more difficult than I'm making it out to sound. Stud sticks out, yay. We ended up initially drilling from the back side here, and then tweaking everything. And then we came in a bunch of different methods we tried. Cutting, air chisel, and is what we ended up doing was just taking the die grinder or the cutoff wheel and cutting the thing off, grinding it down flush, and then we came in here and reamed this out to the proper size. Is what we ended up doing is we machined up a you can see it here, it's a bushing or a sleeve. The bushing fits into the hole that we reamed, okay, and then this portion spaces the shock away from the trailing arm, and then the sleeve portion of this mounting point is what we did was we bored it to fit the bolt that we went with, and this is a grade 8 3-inch, I forget the exact size we went with. I want to say it was a 17 millimeter. Our local Lowe's did not have a 17 millimeter, so we went with a standard equivalent. This is red Loctated on. I don't want this bad boy coming loose. I probably put, I don't know, maybe 100 miles on it so far since we've repaired it, and everything seems good to go, so I'm pretty happy with that. For just the sake of trying to help everybody out here, getting to the top of the shock mount on this side is not easy at all. I initially tried going from the outside of the vehicle inward, and there's not a lot of room here, and I'm trying not to get all that dirty. But the ideal situation is what I did was I actually went up through here to the top of the shock, to the stud, and I loosened it from there. Also installed from the same spot. Definitely not an easy task, but we managed. It's a pretty simple setup. I'm still trying to make sure that things aren't leaking and sealing the way that they should. So anyhow, initially this thing kind of, I think I just got a little bit of, you know, residual sitting here, but it's a pretty neat setup. Draining the trans pan is a pain to replace the OEM filter that really doesn't do much anyhow. This is where everything hooks in. Like I said, there's a little bit of residual here. I initially had an issue with this back compression fitting. It's like a ferrule style fitting. Everything else, all the pipe thread fittings are Teflon taped, but you really want to make sure that the compression style ferrule fittings are tightened down adequately. Initially when I first started the van, I had a decent puddle or leak coming from here, so I torqued that as tight as I could possibly get it, which in my experience with these compression ferrule fittings, they need to be tight, but not that tight. So maybe it was just the fact that this was the first time everything was seating together. But again, you know, since I've had this thing together, like I said, I've only got about 100 miles on it. Seems to be working good so far. Trying to keep down on the wear and tear on the trans, considering the trailer we're pulling